Level 1. The victim. You didn't join. You were the target. It's a Tuesday morning. You sit at your desk with a lukewarm cup of coffee, ready to start another week of answering emails and updating spreadsheets. You click on a folder. It doesn't open. You try another. The icons look strange. They all end in a file extension you've never seen before. .locked, .encrypted. Then, the wallpaper on your desktop suddenly vanishes, replaced by a stark black screen with blood-red text. A text file opens automatically in the center of your monitor. Read me. You read it. The words don't make sense at first. Your network has been penetrated. All your files, backups, and databases have been military-grade encrypted. There is a link to a dark web browser. There is a string of random characters that supposedly identifies you. And at the bottom of the screen, a digital clock is ticking backward from 72 hours. You call your IT guy. He sounds annoyed until you describe the screen. Then his voice drops. He tells you to unplug the machine from the wall, not shut it down. Pull the cord. But it's too late. It's been too late for weeks. You walk out into the hallway of your office or your clinic or your school, and you hear the panic spreading from cubicle to cubicle like a virus. Phones are ringing. People are staring at identical black screens. Years of financial records, patient histories, family photos, payroll data, gone. Locked inside a mathematical vault that nobody in your building knows how to crack. You have 3 days to find $1 million in a digital currency you don't understand, to pay a faceless ghost halfway across the world. You are completely helpless. You realize, staring at the ticking countdown, that a war is happening in the wires all around you. And you were just collateral damage. Level 2. The Mule. You answered a job ad online. Remote payment processor, work from home. No experience needed. You've been out of work for 6 months. The rent is past due, the credit cards are maxed, and your stomach is tied in a constant knot of anxiety. You didn't ask too many questions when the recruiter contacted you on an encrypted messaging app instead of a phone call. They told you the job was simple. You receive funds into your personal bank account. You keep a 10% commission for your trouble. Then you wire the remaining 90% to a cryptocurrency exchange, convert it to Bitcoin, and send it to a wallet address they provide. You tell yourself it's a gray area. Maybe it's a tax dodge for some rich guy overseas. Maybe it's an offshore casino. You don't care. The first transfer comes in, $5,000. You keep $500. You buy groceries that aren't on clearance. You pay the electric bill. You breathe for the first time in a year. The transfers keep coming. $10,000. $20,000. You think you found a loophole in the system. You think you're finally getting ahead. You don't realize you are the lowest rung on a ladder of organized extortion. You don't realize that the money landing in your checking account was squeezed from a bankrupt hospital in Ohio. You are the buffer, the sponge designed to soak up the heat. 6 months later, your debit card gets declined at a gas station. You call the bank, and they tell you your accounts are frozen. The next morning, there is a loud, rhythmic knocking at your front door. You look out the peephole and see dark windbreakers with 3 yellow letters on the back. The people who hired you are ghosts. They left no trace, but your name is on the bank account. Your IP address is on the login. Your face is on the ATM camera. You were never an employee. You were the bait and the trap just snapped shut. Level 3. The Script Kiddie. You're in. Barely. You didn't write any code. You don't actually know how networks operate on a fundamental level. What you know is how to browse Russian hacker forums using Google Translate. You know how to pay $50 in cryptocurrency for a monthly subscription to a tool someone else built. You sit in your bedroom, bathed in the blue light of your monitors, drinking energy drinks and pretending you are a digital god. You download a payload. You buy a list of stolen email passwords for $10. You load them into an automated program and click Start. You watch a progress bar fill up. You don't understand the complex cryptography happening beneath the hood. You just follow the instruction manual. When a hit comes back, when you actually manage to lock a small business's server, your heart races. You feel a surge of absolute power. You imagine you're a mastermind. You brag to anonymous strangers on Discord. about your exploits. You adopt an intimidating username. You think you're part of the elite underground. You are not. You are a child playing with a loaded gun you found in the street. The real players in this game despise you. They call you a script kiddie because you are just running their leftovers. You are loud, sloppy, and careless. You don't bounce your connection through enough proxies. You leave digital fingerprints everywhere you go. When you inevitably target a honeypot set up by a cybersecurity firm, you won't even realize you've been caught until the FBI traces your real IP address back to your parents' router. You thought you were the predator. You were just the noisy distraction. Level 4. The affiliate. You joined a ransomware as a service program. You stepped up from the amateur leagues and entered the franchise model of modern cybercrime. You treat this like a business because that is exactly what it is. You log into a portal on the dark web that looks better designed than most legitimate corporate software. There is a dashboard. There are analytics. There is a technical support team that opens support tickets if your malware fails to execute. You don't write the encryption software. You lease it, you pay a 20% cut to the developers, and you keep the other 80%. Your only job is distribution. You are a salesman of disaster. You buy access to compromised networks in bulk from specialized brokers. You don't care who the target is. A dental network in Texas, a logistics firm in Germany, a small-town police department in Florida. To you, they are just IP addresses and potential payout estimates on a spreadsheet. You inject the ransomware, and you watch your dashboard light up with green check marks as the infections spread. You don't interact with the victims. You don't read the desperate emails from business owners who are about to lose their life savings. You detach yourself from the human cost entirely. You view it purely as a numbers game. Cast a wide enough net, infect 100 companies, and even if only 10 of them pay, you clear $500,000 a month. You buy a luxury car in cash, you rent a high-rise apartment, you tell your family you trade foreign currencies. You are the ultimate middle manager of misery, running a highly profitable franchise of extortion from the comfort of a gaming chair. Level 5. The penetration specialist. You are the one who actually gets inside. You are the ghost in the machine. While the affiliates cast wide, noisy nets, you operate with surgical precision. You don't rely on mass phishing emails. You hunt big game. You look for the multi-billion-dollar corporations, the state governments, the massive healthcare networks. You find the single unpatched VPN server that their IT department forgot about. You find the remote desktop portal secured by a password that was leaked 3 years ago. You slip through the crack. Once inside, you do absolutely nothing. That is your genius. You don't deploy the ransomware immediately. That's for amateurs. You wait, you lurk. You spend weeks quietly mapping their entire network architecture. You move laterally, jumping from server to server, silently escalating your administrative privileges. You read the CEO's emails. You find the financial documents that state exactly how much cyber insurance coverage they have. You find their backup servers, the ones they rely on to save them in an emergency, and you quietly turn them off. You own their entire digital existence, and they have no idea. The employees are still coming to work, typing on their keyboards, completely unaware that a stranger is watching every keystroke. You build a backdoor so wide a truck could drive through it. Then, you don't even trigger the attack. You package this perfect invisible access and sell it on an underground auction to a ransomware operator for $50,000. You take your money and you vanish, long before the sirens start blaring. You are pure technical skill, silent and invisible, moving entirely in the shadows. Level 6. The Negotiator. You are the one who talks to the victims. The attack has happened. The screens are locked. The victim clicks the link to chat with the hackers, and you are the one typing back. You are calm. You are professional. You are almost polite. You act like a customer service representative for a catastrophe you helped orchestrate. A hospital administrator is frantically typing, begging you to unlock their systems because surgeries are being canceled and lives are at risk. You do not blink. You do not feel pity. You look at the financial documents the penetration team stole before locking the files. You know the hospital made $200 million last year. You know they have a $20 million cyber insurance policy. You ask for $5 million. They offer $1 million. They say it's all they can liquidate in time. You know they are lying. You politely explain that if the $5 million is not transferred within 24 hours, you will publish the confidential psychiatric records of 10,000 patients on the public internet. You know exactly how to turn the screws. You understand human psychology better than most therapists. You know how to create urgency without triggering total panic. If you push too hard, they will accept the loss and refuse to pay. If you don't push hard enough, they will drag the negotiation out for weeks. You find the perfect balancing point. You guide them through the process of buying cryptocurrency. You offer them a discount if they pay early. You make them feel like paying you is the smartest, most logical business decision they can make. You are not a hacker. You are a psychological terrorist wrapping extortion in the polite language of a corporate boardroom. Level 7. The developer. You wrote the malware, the actual code, the complex unbreakable math that locks the files, came from your fingertips. You are the architect of the weapon. You live in a high-rise in St. Petersburg or Bucharest, or somewhere beyond the reach of Western extradition. You sit at a multi-monitor setup, drinking espresso, writing lines of C++ and Rust. You study advanced cryptography. You obsess over efficiency. Your goal is to make the encryption process so fast that it can lock an entire corporate database before the automated security alarms even have time to trigger. When billion-dollar cybersecurity firms like CrowdStrike or Mandiant publish 50-page white papers, reverse engineering your latest ransomware strain, you read them over breakfast. You smile. They are studying your work. They are marveling at your logic. You take their white paper, see where they found a vulnerability in your code, patch it, and release version 2.0 by the end of the week. You never interact with the victims. You never negotiate. You never touch the stolen data. You simply lease out your masterpiece to the affiliates and take a flat 20% of every ransom paid globally. The money washes over you like a tidal wave. You are the most valuable person in the entire criminal ecosystem, and yet you are completely insulated from the dirty work. You view yourself as an artist, a brilliant, misunderstood software engineer who simply found a more profitable market. You go to sleep at night knowing that tomorrow morning, hundreds of businesses will wake up paralyzed, all because of a puzzle you designed that cannot be solved. Level 8. The operator. You run active campaigns. You are the campaign manager of extortion. You don't write the code anymore, and you certainly don't waste your time running phishing scripts. You manage people. You manage egos. You run a digital cartel. You sit in the middle of the web, coordinating the moving parts. A penetration tester comes to you with access to a massive logistics company. You evaluate the target. You check the news to make sure attacking them won't bring down the wrath of a nation-state's military intelligence. If the target is approved, you assign it to an affiliate. You provision the encrypted servers. You set the timeline. You manage the negotiators. When the victim pays, you enforce the split. You make sure the pen tester gets their cut, the developer gets their percentage, and the affiliate gets their share. You are dealing with criminals, which means you are constantly dealing with paranoia and betrayal. Affiliates try to skim off the top. Developers threaten to take their code to a rival gang. You are the diplomat and the enforcer. You mediate disputes. You blacklist people who break the gang's rules. You maintain the underground reputation of your brand, ensuring that victims know that if they pay, they will actually get their files back. Because if the victims stop believing you'll unlock the files, the entire business model collapses. You work 16-hour days. You manage millions of dollars in untraceable funds. You are running a highly efficient multinational corporation that just happens to be completely illegal. The stress is eating a hole in your stomach, but the power is absolute. Level 9. The Launderer. You turn digital ghost money into clean, spendable cash. The public thinks cryptocurrency is anonymous. You know the truth. You know that Bitcoin is a public ledger, and the FBI has algorithms that can trace a single coin across 1,000 transactions. Your entire job is to break that chain. You are the alchemist. A gang extracts a $5 million ransom from a municipality. The money is scorching hot. If anyone tries to cash it out at an exchange, the authorities will freeze it instantly. They send the crypto to you. You push it through complex decentralized mixers, shattering the large sum into tens of thousands of microscopic transactions. You bounce it across thousands of automated wallets. You swap it for privacy coins like Monero, which obscure the ledger entirely. Then you swap it back. You run the funds through corrupt, unregulated crypto exchanges in jurisdictions that don't answer the phone when Interpol calls. You generate fake invoices for non-existent IT consulting services. You funnel the money into shell companies in Cyprus, the Seychelles, and Panama. When the money finally comes out the other side, it looks perfectly legitimate. It buys the operator a penthouse in Dubai. It buys the developer a fleet of imported sports cars. You charge a staggering fee for this service, sometimes up to 15% of the total haul. You don't care who was hacked. You don't care if a hospital had to shut down its emergency room. You don't look at the screen. You just look at the flow of currency. The authorities can follow the malicious code all they want. They cannot follow you. Level 10, the boss. You don't touch a keyboard anymore. You sit at the very top of a syndicate that generates more revenue than the GDP of a small island nation. You run an organization with dozens of highly specialized operators spread across multiple countries. You have never met most of them in person. You don't know their real names, and they don't know yours. You communicate exclusively in heavily encrypted, self-destructing channels. You disappear between major operations, going completely dark for months at a time. Governments have your alias. They have a profile of your psychological traits. They offer $10 million bounties for information leading to your arrest, but they don't have your face. They don't have your location. You operate with the quiet, unspoken blessing of the country you reside in. Operating under one golden rule: you do not hack targets inside your own borders. As long as you only bleed the West, the local authorities look the other way. You dine in exclusive restaurants. You buy influence. You bribe local officials just to keep the buffer strong. But the insulation brings a crushing, suffocating paranoia. You know that the American intelligence agencies are actively hunting you, treating you not as a criminal but as a national security threat. You know that rival gangs would gladly sell you out to eliminate the competition. You know that one of your own operators might flip for a pardon and a ticket out of the country. You trust absolutely no one. Every knock on the door, every unexpected server outage, every silent phone could be the end. But you can't stop. Stepping away means showing weakness. And in your world, weakness is fatal. So you log back into the encrypted channel. You approve another target. And somewhere, thousands of miles away, a normal person sits down at their desk, clicks on a file, and watches their screen fade to black.